Affairs Channel, part of the Sky News channels.
But under the Senate's resolutions, witnesses have the right to request to be heard in private session. It is important that witnesses give the committee notice if they intend to give evidence in camera. If a witness objects to answering a question, the witness should state the ground upon which the objection is taken, and the committee will determine whether or not it will insist on an answer, having regard to the ground which is claimed. If the committee determines to insist on an answer, a witness may request the answer be given in camera. Such request may, of course, be made at any other time. I would also ask witnesses to remain behind for a few minutes at the conclusion of their evidence in case Hansard staff need to clarify any terms or references. And I remind people in the room to ensure their mobile phones are either turned off or switched silent. Finally, on behalf of the committee, I'd like to thank all those who have made submissions and sent representatives here today for their cooperation. And so I welcome representatives of Qantas and Jetstar, and notice that you've sent a senior in the full team. For the Hansard record, could give your names and the capacity in which you appear today.
Thanks, Chairman. My name is Alan Joyce and I'm the Chief Executive Officer for the Qantas Group.
My name is Bruce Buchanan and I'm the Chief Executive Officer for the Jetstar Group.
Mark Rossiter, Head of Safety for Jetstar.
Mark Reinflesch, Chief Pilot, Jetstar.
John Gissing, Executive Manager, Group Safety.
Peter Wilson, Chief Pilot, Qantas.
Mark Davey, Chief Pilot, Qantas Link.
Qantas, thank you for that. Qantas and Jetstar have lodged submission 31 with the committee. Would you like to make any amendments or additions to that submission?
No, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Joyce. Would you like to make an opening statement?
Yes, I will, Chairman. Again, we are pleased to be here. As you've seen today, we have some senior representatives from the Qantas Group. All of us today have taken this inquiry and the matters under consideration very seriously. A lot of hard work has gone into it. Nothing is more important to Qantas than safety, and in Australia's national carrier, Qantas has greatly valued the opportunity to be part of the process. We've sought to be fully responsible to the full range of questions and interests expressed. We have now provided over 50 pages of written evidence, including a formal submission and extensive response to the questions on notice. We've also spent 2 hours with the committee on the 25th of February. I know in your deliberations you have consulted a wide range of individuals and organisations and taken submissions from many sources. Some of these sources, obviously, Qantas has not been privy to. What we have sought is to deliver to you the facts about our safety values, our safety systems, our safety record, as well as respond helpfully to the other issues that have been raised. We are never complacent about safety, and we're always looking for ways to improve our own practices and the safety of Australian aviation. That is why we have devoted such significant resources to this inquiry. Where genuine safety matters have been identified during this inquiry, they have either been investigated or are being investigated by the appropriate regulatory authority. But I'd like to add one point. I hope that in your deliberations you are mindful of one overriding reality. Australia is one of the world's safest aviation jurisdictions, and it would be disappointed in the confidence in our overall systems was undermined. Australia's first-rate safety record is a result of a comprehensive, vigilant approach agreed between the industry and regulators. This model is endorsed as global best practice by IATA and ICAO. The ATSB and CASA are globally recognised as aviation safety leaders, and the Qantas Group safety record is outstanding by any international standards. More importantly, we are never complacent, and we're always vigilant, and we'll always put safety first. We're happy to take questions from the committee.
Thank you very much. Would it be fair to say that as a consequence of the publicity surrounding this inquiry that it has been an opportunity for Qantas and Jetstar internally just to double-check their processes and procedures, and out of this inquiry could come, if there was ever any doubt from the flying public, that an assurance that despite the fact that all human endeavour has some failure, you can be sure that the processes are in place to make sure that the chances of human failure in flying for Qantas are, at the very barest minimum.
I agree completely with you, Chairman. I think we're always very conscious of continuous improvement in all of the Qantas airlines. We do focus in on any information that comes available, and I think one of the important things that we do regard is that there is a good process out there when issues occur. There is a process for the regulators, for ourselves, to review those issues, to learn from those issues, and continuously improve the operation. We encourage as many people as possible to report incidents within the Qantas Group. Last year, we had over 9,000 reports that came through into the group. Those reports are reviewed, risk assessed, we analyse them, and then we absolutely are making every endeavour to improve the airline's performance in all elements of safety. And I think this inquiry and any attention that is paid to airline safety is a positive, because we are always wanting to figure out ways to improve the situation in airline safety.
So, I guess a lot of people saw Four Corners the other night, and obviously the Qantas pilots who are very experienced in that plane passed the test, as it were, and the flying public should take some lessons from the fact that I thought it was a very difficult situation and could have ended up a lot worse than it did. Would that have been the same outcome if this may be too near speculation, but would experience have helped in the cabin that day as opposed to?
Well, first of all, I'd say you're absolutely right. I mean, the Four Corners piece I thought was a fantastic piece. It was a part of, obviously, Qantas at all levels assisted with the development of that. It shows you the open and transparent approach that the group has, because we fully made every piece of information available to the journalists of everything that occurred on that day. I think it did show how professional all of the people within Qantas were and how they handled that instance. The pilots did a fantastic job. The engineers did a fantastic job. Our ground staff did an amazing job. And our emergency centre did an amazing job. So all of the experience, the effort that we put in, I think did pay off at the end of the day. On the particular issue about training, I'll ask Pete Wilson, who's our chief pilot, to talk about how he would view that.
Well, look, I would totally agree with what Alan just said. As far as the experience issue that you raised, Mr. Chairman, it really gets down to the training of the crew. All the crew, whether it's a captain, a first officer, a second officer, they all receive extensive training, and I think they work well together as a team, and hence the result that we had out of that particular incident.
I suppose you could say the same, even though, there seems to be a question that the committee has to ponder about, and separating the pay and the hours, etc., out from the safety is a bit of an issue for the committee. But in the case of the Darwin incident, it'd be fair to say that despite the difficult circumstance that the takeoff found itself in, that the training succeeded there. They got through it all right, the wind shear event.
This is the Jetstar incident in Darwin, Bruce.
Yeah, look, I think there's been a lot of misrepresentation of that event. So I would like to read a couple sentences from one of the pilots involved, if the committee would allow me to do that. The pilots. Senator O'Brien.
Well, I think we're happy for Qantas to put its view on the record. If there's evidence from a pilot who was involved, it's our preference we take it from the pilot involved, because if there's some question as to a version of events from the pilot to someone else, and then someone says there's a question about the version of events from the pilot to someone else in Qantas or Jetstar, it would be preferable from our point of view to have the first-hand evidence, which then, can be tested against whatever we have before us,
Could I just raise a procedural matter before we proceed any further? Does Qantas or Jetstar have any objection to the media?
No, we've no objection.
Okay. The committee all right? Okay.
Chair, just to put this in context, when this issue was raised about the wind shear incident, there was never any question about the competence of the Jetstar crew. In fact, on the contrary, they, by all evidence, they behaved in exemplary fashion. The issue was one of whether they had sufficient information at air traffic control. I think that was the issue, and whether the ATSB should have investigated it further.
I think one of the things that's a little bit concerning for us is that we have very good processes in this country with the ATSB and CASA to investigate these matters, and I think when these matters get raised outside of those forums, it makes it quite difficult for us, especially if people are holding back information that could be material in a safety investigation. It then gets raised in this forum. It makes it difficult for those bodies to be able to investigate the incident properly.
Which is why I don't think we object to Qantas giving its view about the matter, because another view has been put, which may or may not be one that you share, and that has received publicity. So, in fairness, we couldn't object to you saying what your view was. The only issue we have is if it's another version, of second-hand evidence, it would be much better to clarify the matter at source, and if that means we have to do it at another time for finality purposes, then in our view, I think so be it. But Qantas should have the opportunity to put its view on the record.
Well, we've received this copy of this letter. We haven't contacted the author of it. In fact, I tried to ring him and they tell me he's on his honeymoon out in the scrub somewhere. Yeah. And I hope you're having a good time out there. But it would be better form for the committee, we think, to actually hear from him and get authorisation. We've received it. We're not going to publish it. And until we get authorisation from the author, we just as soon put it into our file and in due course, if necessary, hear from the author.
Yeah, Chairman, we're comfortable with that. I think we'd also ask that the author's identity could be protected, which I think is important for us, because we don't want any recrimination back against the auditor. So if we
recrimination against
the pilot in question. So if we can...
From whom? How do you mean?
There's a very heated atmosphere at the moment, and we just want to make sure there's no recrimination against them.
And I can understand some people worried about their well-being and job security, etc. So,
yeah.
Senator O'Brien?
No, you were... Yeah. Sorry, well, Senator Zenith.
We're talking about this particular issue. So I thought the idea was that Jetstar give an opportunity to give their view.
If they would care to.
Which we will. Which we will. Go on, Bruce.
I think it's first and foremost, without going into the detail of the pilot's submissions, worth saying that he has written an unsolicited letter saying that Captain Woodward's testimony is a complete misrepresentation of the facts and his testimony and what he said previously on the fact. And we'd encourage the committee to talk directly to the pilot and get the facts of the matter. It's also worth saying that this is now an active ATSB investigation, and therefore we need to be mindful of what the ATSB thinks of this matter. But we'd encourage the committee also to talk to the ATSB and get the facts of the matter, rather than getting hearsay and information out from people that aren't involved in the incident, to talk directly to the people that are either investigating it or to the pilots who are involved in the incident to get the facts of the matter.
Mr. Buchanan, Chair, just my understanding from the ATSB was initially they weren't going to investigate it any further. It was closed. Has something happened since then that they're now looking at it more and again, I'm emphasising that I don't think there's any question about the captain and the first officer about the way they...
There was evidence tabled in this forum by Captain Woodward, which has now led to the ATSB investigating the incident. So.
But I think there was also an issue, again, nothing to do with Jetstar. The pilots relied on the best available information and acted prudently and cautiously, but there was an issue as to whether air traffic control in Darwin or the Bureau of Meteorology could have given some further information that would have assisted them. I think it was a systemic issue that may be looked at.
I think there's lots of information that the ATSB and CASA always look at, and you know, the ATSB now investigating the incident. I think the ATSB will investigate the incident